And good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Perugini. I am here with Chris Lahiff and Patrick Houseman for our third edition of the live Philly podcast presented by CEVSports.com, live on StreamYard.com. Gentlemen, how are we today?
I'm doing good. What do we got? What do we got going on today? I don't even know. It's been a busy week in sports for me. I don't even know what day it is anymore. So, but I started this out when we were backstage that I'm giving a shout out to the Our Lady of Calvary CYO team. You know, they won their championship yesterday. Great game over St. Catherine's. Um, it was the second batter of the game, the pitcher for us. He ended up breaking a kid's wrist, fractured his wrist, which is crazy because it's just an inside pitch.
Wow.
And that he came out, and then they literally they taped it back up like it was dirt, and then they put him back in, and they played the rest of the game. It's actually a friend of mine's nephew, so props to Aiden Kane out there for taking a beat and playing the whole game. But they won 3-2. Every kid on that team yesterday, the head coach on that team is phenomenal. The assistant is not. The assistant's a dickhead. I'm sorry if anyone's watching who knows him. I'm not gonna say names. I got my feelings on it, but he put every kid in their position to win. Like he was, Chase didn't start the game, but Chase's role was you were going to pinch run for the catcher and the pitcher, and he stole 4 bases and he scored the winning run on a great hit by Sean Cahill. So that was the final run, and then it was so funny though because when the kid pitching Caden, he's a great kid. He's going to Judge. Hopefully he plays baseball for them. But it was funny because he struck out the last kid, and the look on his face is like he didn't know how to celebrate. He was like, "What do I do? We won." And then it was like, "All right, yeah, we're champions," and this and that, and then they started piling on everybody. It was a great feeling. But now Chase Lahiff is a CYO champion. He joins the ranks of the great Bill DeRosier and CYO. In the CYO legendary status that he always talks about himself. But, and then today was the last day of spring soccer. We played against Pat's team, good 2-2 game. And then, they had another baseball game today, but I was ripping down my yard and trying to put up fencing, and Sean Cahill had another game-winning hit today, so they won 8-7. So that kid's just a ball player. So, other than that, and Friday obviously was the Sixers. It's I don't like Ben Simmons this and Ben Simmons that. Like at the end of the day, Ben Simmons is like a plus 42 for the series. Trae Young is like a minus 48, and his hair is a minus 16. So I don't care about the stats that Ben Simmons has about his points. And don't get me wrong, he's gonna have to adjust against the Bucks or the Nets. Which, we'll get into that right now. Like, you wanted to bring it up. I was like, I didn't want to jinx anything because I want the Sixers to get out of this round. But, whoever goes to the next round and plays, if the Nets advance, supposedly this injury was big. I didn't see it. I've been working all day. So with that, go ahead, Pat.
I mean, he came right down, and I guess about rim high, and landed right on Giannis's foot, and his whole ankle turned, and his ankle touched the ground when he hit. That's how bad the roll was, and he limped off to the locker room, and he came out apparently in a boot and on crutches. So I mean, that type of injury. I mean, you're talking 2, 3, maybe longer than that for him to be back full strength. It's going to be tough, and I'm sure you guys know from watching sports. I mean, Harden's dealing with a hamstring. Can't rush that back. And even if he comes back and he's healthy, one turn the wrong way, one pivot the wrong way, and that thing can pop again. And those things nag for a while. So they're not healthy. They're just not healthy. I mean, they're kind of They kind of remind me of the Warriors a couple of years ago when Durant got hurt and when Clay got hurt. Now they're getting all hurt earlier in the series, but they're right for the pick in that team. And frankly, if he can't go, and if Harden doesn't come back and is Harden, they're going to lose that series. They're going to lose 4 straight. So it's just very interesting. You stack your team up with stars like this, and you can just never predict. They went through the whole season. They got injured here and there, but these injuries came at the absolute wrong time, and they were rolling up 2-0 in that series. And now they're heading back to Brooklyn 2-2, and things are looking pretty grim for them. So as a Sixers fan, this kind of excites me. I mean, I much more rather would have the Bucks in the conference finals than Brooklyn at full strength.
Well, we'll see what happens with them. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with them. Losing Kyrie is going to be big for that team. That's going to be real big, So it's and like you said, he walked out of there, crutches and a walking boot. So that doesn't sound good at the moment. You never know what's going to happen, but yeah, that's going to play a huge factor for that team. That really is.
And Milwaukee's offenses look like trash this series at all 4 games. So, if they go and they win 4 straight games here, and they go on to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm not worried because of as far as I'm concerned, they beat an injured animal. Brooklyn. The only reason why Brooklyn would lose the series is because of injury, not because the Bucks just took them down. So Milwaukee, they don't really make me nervous at all. They beat us the 1 game this year pretty good. They worked that pick and roll pretty well. The Hawks did the same thing in game 1. We adjusted to it, and we adjusted fine. I don't see Milwaukee giving us that much of a problem either. Like I said, that's at full strength. Yeah, they're enough to give you a couple of sleepless nights, but everything's kind of breaking right for the Sixers. And to win championships and to get deep in playoff runs, you have to have things break right for you, and they kind of are right now. So I'm very excited going into this.
Oh yeah, I mean I am too. It's very exciting. You wouldn't expect Joel Embiid to play the way he has been with that slight tear of his meniscus. I mean, it seems like it hasn't really even bothered him, which is amazing, and it's great for Sixers fans. I still get a little nervous with it, but I'm going to ride it while it goes. And they're I say only up 2-1, but they're halfway to winning the series, and I'm excited to see what happens. And then I'll get into the next series. I really will. But I mean, you're right. Milwaukee hasn't wowed anybody at all. They really haven't. And the fact that Brooklyn's going through this injury stuff right now. I mean, if they wind up losing, does it? I mean, obviously, to me, it makes it easier for the Sixers, a little bit easier. But I mean, man, people are going to come down hard on Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Because it's like you didn't get Brooklyn at full strength. So it's
I never know. Care. I don't care about that. Like, listen, Brooklyn is the only team.
Well, I mean, you have to sort of because injuries happen.
No, that's it's horse s. Like it's like then you need to have depth. Like you stacked your team with loaded players. If you can't beat Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Blake Griffin, oh well. If you can beat them, oh well. You didn't lose. Like they won. They still have superstars. It's not like when the Sixers beat the Bulls years ago when they beat them when Derrick Rose went out in the first or second game with a torn ACL. So no, like it's nothing like that. They still have 3 other stars. They loaded their team. They have an MVP coach, a former MVP coach, and they have 3 players. True. They have 3 players who more or less quit on their other teams and escaped because they didn't like, I don't know, guess not being the guy. So no, like if they're gonna lose to Milwaukee because Kyrie Irving wasn't there, well then you weren't good enough. Like that's all there is to it. Like you just weren't good enough. I don't no. No, like they can EA Day is what they can do.
Yeah, they actually can. But now you're right. They should be able to win, and because you're right, they did stack their team. So
Milwaukee's pretty loaded. I mean, Drew Holiday, he played on Team USA team, I believe, or he's been at least an NBA All-Star multiple times. Giannis has been an MVP. Chris Middleton's a good player. Milwaukee has a very good team as well. They're pretty loaded. Now they lost Dante DiVincenzo, who was a starter, but obviously Tucker's played great against KD. But they're a loaded team too. Every team, I think, from here on out, we're going to see a loaded team. But losing not one but two superstar players, that is going to affect the way you do things. It's going to limit how you play on offense. And frankly, they don't have that defensive makeup that we have and that Milwaukee has. So they are going to be a totally different team coming out here the rest of the way. I also noticed some philosophical differences, I think, between you and you guys and myself. I'm looking past the series at this point and looking forward. I don't know if it's me being a Patriots fan and constantly looking forward to what the runs are going to be deep in the playoffs, but I'm definitely not worried about any type of jinx. It seems like you guys are getting a little nervous about the type of jinx. And I'm telling you, kind of relax, man. We're gonna get there. Trust me, we're gonna get there.
Listen, I'm confident that they're going to beat Atlanta. I'm not gonna get cocky. I'm confident. I know we're saying we're looking past Atlanta. I don't want them looking past Atlanta. I know they're not, but in the back of your mind as a fan, you're like, "Oh my God, we got Atlanta." Like if they come out and they beat Atlanta by 35 points tomorrow night, like Atlanta just throwing the towel. Like
they're gonna run Atlanta off the court tomorrow.
I think, and you know what? I really think they are. I think they got in their heads that Ginger Bardine or whatever his name is, who was 8 for 8 in Game 2, blew in Game 3. He was like 0 for 9.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons' defense is ridiculous. You can tell how mad they're getting. I really wish the NBA officials would look at game film. I feel like as a part of your job, you look at game film and see, the Trae Youngs of the world who were going into people and creating fouls against them. So that's why I'm a little hesitant, because they could go in and they could get the home calls that you shouldn't get. And Trae Young lost his cool the other night, and he got teed up.
Yeah, good. You can't initiate the contact and then get foul calls. You just can't do it. That's wrong. The NBA has to change that. That's a joke. But
you're getting credited because you're smaller than the other guy.
Exactly.
That's
and a big person's leg.
Trae Young, and I have nothing against Trae Young. I think he's a phenomenal player. But the contact he gets and the fouls he wants, he would not last in the Allen Iverson era. Because Allen Iverson got rarely any calls like that. The calls that Allen Iverson got, he was getting manhandled. It was like the Undertaker getting rolled on at the Royal Rumble. Like when Jordan used to go, and in the Last Dance, when Jordan used to drive to the lane, and the Detroit Pistons would do everything. They would take his wallet, his watch, his shoelaces. And again, I don't have anything against Trae Young. I just don't think he would last, and just how he acts, how he wants all the calls. I look at Steph Curry, and I could be wrong, because like I said, you only see Steph Curry a handful of times because he's on whatchamacallit. He's on Golden State, so he's in the West Coast. So you don't see a lot of them. So I feel like when I see him and he's going up and he's shooting threes, or when he's driving a lane and he gets fouled, I don't feel like you see him complaining to the refs, looking for the call. I could be 100% wrong. There could be teams on the West Coast telling me right now, you're out of your goddamn mind. He wants all the calls in the world. But I don't see it with him. But with Trae Young, because he's on the East Coast, and we see it now because it's focused in on the series, you see it and you're like, dude, you ran into Ben Simmons at full speed with his feet planted. How is that? That's not a blocking foul. That's a charge on you. That's on you. I don't get it sometimes. But you review calls and you get it wrong as an official. Then why have the replay system in the NBA and MLB is hands down the worst. It's the worst in all four minor sports leagues, in my opinion. I could be 100% wrong. And I'm gonna go off on another rant. Hubie Brooks, I don't know what his thing is with the Atlanta Hawks. I don't care that he coached them 48 years ago. I don't. That he played for them 68 years ago. He talks them up like they're better than the 96 Bulls, the 70-3-9 Warriors, the LeBron James that beat the 73-9 Warriors. He's ridiculous. He's absolute, and I don't understand the love that he's getting on social media. Everyone's like, I want to hear more Hubie Brooks. No, I put my mute on TV and I put the closed captioning on because I can't believe what I'm hearing. He's awful. He's absolutely awful. Like he talked about the Hawks like they were up by 19. They were losing by 19. He was talking about them hitting 33 threes in game 1. Dude, that was 4 nights ago or 5 nights ago. They're now losing by 19. Trae Young's minus 17. And you're talking about him like he's Jordan. Get the hell out of here, Hubie Brooks. This is not 1934 anymore. I'm sorry.
He only did that because he used to coach them. That's what it is.
He's done it in 2 games. He's going
to have love for them, so he's going to do that.
But you know what? This is why I get irritated about the meeting. I want the dude from Comcast. I can't say his name. I know people know who I'm talking about. Who does the Eagles? Who does the Sixers games with who is it? Zumoff or the Zumoff to the radio?
Mark Zumoff and Al Abdenabi.
Al Abdenabi needs to do national. He needs to be on TNT or ESPN. That dude is so down the middle. He's like, that's not a. Oh wait, that is a foul. Like, and it'll be right on Embiid, or it'll be right on Simmons, or it'll be any other team. He's so bipartisan, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
But they're not going to do that for the national stuff. They're going to have their guys that they know what they like. They're going to go with it, and that's how they're going to run it. I mean, sadly. I agree with you, though. I like it better when there's guys that call it down the middle, and I absolutely love it when it's our own guys who call stuff down the middle.
Why do you think Harry Kalas got all those gigs in NFL Films? Because he was good at his job.
It was also convenient because he was right across the bridge.
Yeah, but I mean, but he was very passionate about his job, and he got it right. Whether it was against the Phillies or whoever the Phillies were playing, he was 100% in the right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to be a national guy, you got to be impartial. You can't be up there showing favoritism for a team. I mean, I'll use a national guy. I don't know how people feel about him here because he's a Cowboy, but Troy Aikman, for me.
He hates the Cowboys. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, he doesn't show that type of loyalty, and I don't think Tony Romo does either. That's how you have to be. And I know there's guys that get ripped for saying they become part of the media and then they're not for the players anymore. Well, that's how you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to have that type of loyalty. You're getting paid to not have that type of loyalty. So I kind of like that. Hubie Brown. It's hard. It's getting harder and harder to listen. Number one, and I don't want to sound like disparaging like an older person or a senior citizen, but he's 87 years old. I don't think he can really see the game as well. He's missing a lot. You can tell he's missing a lot when he's out there, and it started to happen to Pat Summerall towards the end of his career too. He just couldn't see what was going on anymore.
Oh, Summerall was terrible.
Yeah, towards the end of his career, he just could not see anymore, and that's not his fault. That happens with age, and you're kind of seeing that. Like I said, Hubie Brown's 87 years old. They got to get somebody else that's better than him at this point to do these games. He can't be part of a major broadcast team during the playoffs, especially when he can't be totally impartial, and clearly he can't be.
No, I agree. You need to, like I said, you need to be impartial, especially when it comes to the playoffs. I don't care what they do during the regular season, how they talk, but during the playoffs, it's a different atmosphere, and it's almost like you have different people tuning in to watch that want to see the games. But real quick to go back on guys that you were talking about who are impartial, and you mentioned Tony Romo and Troy Aikman, who I absolutely love their commentary. I wish somebody would tell that to Michael Irvin on ESPN. I mean, because that guy straight up is no matter what, if you tell him that the Cowboys are going to lose by 40 and they lose by 42, he'll tell you it's a close game. So I mean, it's
Well, he's also doing a lot of drugs still.
oh, the
You
meth
can't
is
tell me-
real.
You can't tell me he's not doing
real
drugs.
with Michael Irvin when he's out there. The amount of profusely
Like-
sweating the way he does, man's gonna have a heart
Like-
attack on TV.
Like, can you imagine, like, if Tom McGinnis did a game on national TV?
oh,
like
people
you want
would
to
go
talk
nuts.
about
Yeah.
the fact that he hasn't had a heart attack on air is impressive. Like
See, I love listening to McGinnis on the radio. See,
I love it too.
It just sounds like he's had too many monsters. I mean, that's that's kind of how it sounds,
Yeah,
Even
but
he's awesome.
amazing.
When you're a one guy show like that, you have to
Yep.
be.
I was just going to say, for a
you know how
one-man
hard
show,
it
he's
You know how hard it is to keep up with basketball. So you have to keep everyone involved.
Yep.
And that's like kind of like the Flyers announcers back in the day, like Gene Hart and all them. Like they were great doing their job. Like they were phenomenal. That's why they had their job for so long. Hubie Brooks. Like I said, I didn't watch the playoffs last year, so I don't know if he was in it. If he did the books, but the games last year. But I didn't see game one of the Sixers. I was doing all kinds of. I don't even know what the hell I was doing, but I didn't see it. So I heard everybody. I heard all Philadelphia say, the Hawks are good, but they're not, 96 Bulls good. Then you go on social media and you go on Twitter, and it's I love Hubie Brooks. He needs to do more games, and I'm like, all right, well this should be interesting. So I'm waiting. So we get the next game and he doesn't do anything, and then we get the third game. I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm like, Sixers are up by 13. They just went on like a 15-3 run, and they're winning by 10. And he's talking about them like they're winning by 30. And he's talking about the 3-point percentage at the end of the third quarter a week ago, and I'm like, what? Like, how do you remember a week ago? You're 87 years old. I don't remember yesterday. There's no way he remembers that. Someone handed him notes.
He's just trying to hype up the Atlanta fans, but that's all he's trying to do. That's all he's trying to do. And it is what it is. I laugh at it.
Yo, Atlanta fans were mad about how bad the Sixers were putting a beating on them. And I'm actually, and you know what else? And I put it down as my status and I tweeted it out. Why is the media? It's it's not a lazy sports take. They just don't want to do the take. Why are they not talking about Joel Embiid getting hurt and the Atlanta fans cheering twice? Twice they cheered when they thought he hurt his knee. Twice. You knew it. And nothing was said. Oh my God. Could you imagine if we did that about Trae Young? They'd be like, they cheered Trae Young's injury as they were throwing snowballs at Santa Claus in Atlanta while he was going down Main Street. That's exactly how it would go.
Peachtree
and listen,
everything's Peachtree Street.
Whatever, shut up. Philadelphia, and listen again, Philadelphia fans. You threw popcorn on Westbrook. We got that rep, but there's nothing being said about this. Why? Why is this not talked about? Like the cheering of an injury.
Oh, I know.
Why is that not being talked about? Why
because
is it
it's not us?
Like,
because
why is
it's
it not
us?
Why is it not trending on social media?
Because it's not Philadelphia. That's why. People don't care unless it's from Philadelphia. As soon as something happens and people, I saw on Twitter just 3 days ago, there was, I think it was the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh God, you talking about the Twin Towers picture?
No, not that. That's disgusting. That is disgusting though. But apparently that was put up before. But no, Golden Knights in Vegas. They, who are they? I forget who they're playing right now. I think they're. I don't know who they're playing, but it's a Canadian team. Two guys are in Vegas watching the game. They got their flag, and
Quebec,
Vegas
or Colorado.
Maybe, I don't know, but they run. This guy runs down, takes their flag, and then one guy gets up, then the other follows up. Well, they start fighting with these fans. And someone put down, when did Philadelphia go to Vegas? And I thought, you know what? go bleep yourself. You know, like so I wrote down under the CEV Sports Twitter. I was like, yeah, that's right. You know, how despicable of us. We go to other arenas, we dress up in other people's gear, and we start fights for no other reason, just because we want to start a fight. And I just really hate that rep. I just do. I hate it. So I'm not surprised that nobody is making a big deal out of that.
But we have earned that rep. But we haven't done anything like that. So it's in a long time. But you know, listen, it is what it is. You know, we are who we are. As you know, Jim Moore said, playoffs. We are who we are. Like we know what Philadelphia fans are. You know, regardless of how much I come on here and bitch and complain and about how no one covers that, or how much you sit there and you tweet out, you know, like there's nothing you can do. Like at the end of the day, they're still gonna write the right articles. I just gotta come on and debunk all your stupid articles, like your lazy writing. That's all I have to do. That's my job, is to make all you stupid sports writers with your lazy sports take is look stupid. That's what I do. With my stupid red hair, that's what I do.
Question: has Marcus Hayes blocked you on Facebook?
No, he doesn't block. No, he doesn't. He uses his Facebook for his articles. He doesn't block no one. That dude was on 94 like the other day, and I was like, this dude's up. He blocked me on Twitter, and this and that because I called his sports take lazy, because he was sitting there and he was talking about, you know, Carson Wentz should talk to the media, and I'm like, why would the backup quarterback talk to the media? Well, yeah, because he makes this much money. He's the backup quarterback. Backup quarterbacks don't talk to the media unless they're a starter. Like, what do you want from the guy? And then and then you know, I got into the whole thing at work. I'm like, you know, and I know we're gonna get off topic for like 30 seconds, but I was like, Carson Wentz owes nothing to this fan base. He doesn't owe us a goddamn thing. He doesn't owe us a pep talk, you know, a reason for this or a reason for that. You know, like someone posted a picture of, who was it? A picture because he's having another kid. So of course someone posted it and in one of the Philly groups was like, oh, now he can teach his kids to be whiny crybabies like him. I'm like, why is he living rent free in his head, and why are you talking about his kid and his future kid? I'm like, and then someone's like, are you still, you know, doing it? I'm like, no, I just find it funny that we're talking about a guy who's not on the team anymore. Well, why? Why do we talk about it? He's not the quarterback anymore. Why are you so worried about him? Like, I've come to the conclusion that Philadelphia fans are now in the realization that if Jalen Hurts is going to be terrible this year, they have made an awful mistake, and they let our franchise quarterback go to Indianapolis for a second-round pick, and then they're going to start all over again. Why do you think they have 3 first-round picks next year?
They don't believe in them.
You don't think, like, come on, you don't think that that's not in the back of their head? Like, anybody who thinks that they think Jalen Hurts is going to come out and throw 40 touchdowns and 10 interceptions and run for 780 yards, you're out of your goddamn mind. And I'm not saying Nick Sirianni, you know, there's nothing against Sirianni. You know, I don't have faith in Jalen Hurts. He's still my quarterback. I'm not rooting against him. I just don't have faith in him. I wasn't impressed with what I saw. You know, you can tell me that the team played better. You can, at the end of the day, they still went 1-3. You know, he put up worse numbers. Once Jalen Hurts had the same players that Carson Wentz had, you saw how bad he was. You saw how good Carson Wentz was with what he had and compared to what Jalen Hurts had. But, you know, this again, it goes back to, you can't have a bad season in this town. You can't. You know, God forbid Ben Simmons doesn't shoot a 3. You know, you're up by 34. They're going to want him to shoot a 3. No, don't shoot it. I don't care. Like, you know what? You know who Ben Simmons is? If Ben Simmons lost games, he's Russell Westbrook. That's who Ben Simmons is.
Interesting.
Ben Simmons would be Russell Westbrook is a lovable loser. Nobody wants to play with him. He puts up stats. You know, like, look at all the teams he's been on. Like, that says enough. All right, I'm done on my rant. I'm done on my hot take. I'm done on my CM Punk shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the time here. I'm like, 30 seconds turns into 10:30. But anyway. Anyway,
So we obviously we'll talk about we'll get everyone's predictions right now for tomorrow night's game. So I'm saying they win by 14. So what about you, Eric?
it's going to be a double-digit win total for the Sixers. I do. I think they really I think they put their feet on their throat and just take it, because I mean, if they win tomorrow night, whether it's a blowout or they just beat them, Atlanta just packs it in. I don't think they have any chance after that.
I don't think they win in Philadelphia in Game 5 if they're up 3-1. That's just my opinion. But go ahead, Pat. What about you?
Yeah, it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I think they're going to win double digits. I think probably have the game in hand, go deep to the bench again. Hawks make a little bit of a run, cut it to like 15. That's kind of how it's going to finish.
And by the way, Pat, I like your breakdowns when you text them out, like after each game, like especially after like the losses and stuff like that. I love the breakdowns you do, especially like with the team breakdown on foul shooting, how it comes down to the team missed. And Chris, I know what you're going to say next. Even though it comes down to team and Patrick breaks it down tremendously, the first comment on social media is, "Well, Ben did. Who cares?" It's the first comment.
Right. And but you know what? But he deserves it. He deserves it.
Right,
though. Like
right.
he deserves it. Like and listen, I want Ben Simmons to shoot free throws better, but he deserves the criticism.
He does.
But when you sit there and say, "Well, he did this," but no one mentions Joel Embiid, who shot like 73% on in the one game from the free throw line, and he's an 85% shooter. He's 12 points below his average. You got to bring that up.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He's I think an 86% free throw shooter. He shot 75%. He was 16-20 in that game. But Tobias Harris was 1 for 3. George Hill I think went 0 for 2. Somebody else was 1 for 2. That generally is somebody who makes a lot of foul shots. So
Seth Curry missed the free throw in the technical.
Yeah,
there's no one around you.
Yeah,
how are you missing?
He was 1 for 2. So like that was. Overall, like I said, they shot 64%. That's got to be up. It's got to be up somewhere in the 80s. They're going to eventually lose a game somewhere here, and they're going to lose by a couple of points, and you're going to look at the foul shots and say, that's where we lost the game. Right. So it's concerning, and it's got to stop. Like the guys got to really kind of focus when they get to the line and start knocking these shots down. I think they got to relax more because they're obviously overthinking it. I don't know. But it's got you're a professional basketball player. It's called free throws. I think my 9 and 10-year-old team shot better from the line in a lot of games this year than 64%. And it's because something we work on, So like that's where you win and lose games. Now, and for everybody, I got a lot of people on my Facebook that said Doc's not a good coach. Doc's not a good playoff coach. Doc this, Doc that. They made one adjustment in the last 2 games that helped a lot, and it was a Doc adjustment. That pick and roll killed us in game 1. Them sending the screener, the guy covering the screener higher and running that guy off the 3-point line has done wonders in these last 2 games. Joel Embiid's guy generally is the screener so they can get the switch off on there. He's playing higher. He's running the guy off the 3-point line. He's forcing him to go to the lane, or he's forcing him to pass back out of it. So that little change that they've made has made all the difference in the world. Now, I was actually really concerned, like seeing how the Suns played the playoffs. I thought, wow, like they're running the pick and roll with perfection. If we get them somewhere down the line, we're going to have a really hard time. Well, now my fears have kind of been quelched a little bit here because of seeing them be able to make that adjustment here, and they've actually looked a lot better. So that was my main concern, was how they were going to defend the pick and roll. And that was one of the things the Bucks did really good against us after their last win. We couldn't defend that corner 3 against Lopez, and we couldn't defend that pick and roll. I'm confident now that they can do that. It seems like they found something that works, and it's going to make things difficult for teams that want to try to go and use that against us going forward. So I've actually, in the last 2 games, I've put more stock in what our defense is doing, and I actually like the adjustments that Doc's made as a coach, which a lot of people, again, say, well, he's not a good playoff coach. I think this year he's been a very good playoff coach, so I just want to give props to Doc on that.
But, but how is it? And I get it. And me of all people, I'm hard on coaches. You can clearly see my name on here. But when you have a guy like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, how much do you want them to do? At the end of the day, when you have 2 guys like that who you traded for our championship players, and they don't perform, how is that their fault? Like, how is that the coach's fault? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and like I said, I'm not showing favoritism because I was a little against the Doc Rivers. You know, not that I was against it, but they wanted who was the guy that Tyrone Lue. Everyone wanted
Yep.
him, and I'm like why? I'm like, he had an easy job. He was like, all right, you got LeBron, go do, and Irvin, go do what you got to do. Like, it wasn't that hard, like, in my
Right.
opinion. But you know, like, coaches at the end of the day, they're gonna be. But I feel like, you know, baseball coaches are the easiest one to get mad at. But you know, coaches make the plays in basketball. So and everyone, and you can go and look at my Facebook status. You know, he brought in Shake Milton, and my Facebook status said Shake Milton is in great. As I hit submit and put it on Facebook, and as I texted it out to everyone, he hit a quarter-ending 3, and I'm like, all right, we'll see. And then he hit another one. Then he hit another one. Then he hit another one. Then he hit like a running 2-pointer, and he came down and just rushed to 3, and you couldn't even get mad. Even the announcers were like, you know, Doc ain't mad. He just put them up. They were up by 16 in like a matter of 5 minutes because of legitimately because of Shake Milton.
Yeah, and we're going to see more of him now with Danny Green going down. So it's yes, I mean, I still say that's going to be a tough injury for them to work around. But hey, I mean, I'll take what Shake gives me. I'd rather see him out there than Furkan.
Hey, listen, Furkan. Korkmaz came off and scored 11 points last game. So, you know, listen, you know how I feel about Korkmaz.
I know.
But he came in and you're just like, ugh. But then he comes in and scores 11 points. He goes from looking like, you know, Chris Leahiff when he comes in, and then he looks like Korkmaz or whatever the hell.
Yeah, but you know what? You'll take those 10, 11 points that he'll give you like that. You know, what Shake did, you know, you'll take those points. I mean, these are guys that we don't rely on now, but, I mean, we're going to have to lean on them a little bit more to cover for Danny Green. And don't get me wrong, Danny Green has had his moments where he's been a little flighty and up and down, but that is still one hell of a talent that they're now without. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see how Doc now manages these guys and minutes and when he brings them in and who they're against.
Honestly, what I think is, it's going to be a more of a defensive minded atmosphere with Matisse. I'm assuming Matisse Thybulle is getting the start. I would assume.
I would think so. Yeah.
So
yeah, I would think he would.
You know, with Ben Simmons, and you know, with him, even Embiid, like. Let's look at the play from Embiid. Like, he goes down, he stops that alley-oop slam dunk, and then he comes down and makes another play on offense. Like, as great as Jokic is, I don't see him doing that on both ends of the floor. And his team's down 3-0.
Yeah.
Although they're losing by 15. Oh wow, Denver's losing by 15 with a minute left in the third quarter.
So they're going to get swept.
They're swept. Yep.
They're going to get swept. So the MVP is going to go out. He's going to get swept.
But that was like Squad Sports on Twitter put out. You know, I don't see Embiid doing 30, 20, and 10. I'm like, no, his team's up 2-1. He's playing defense. You know, he doesn't need to have 10 assists. He's got a point guard. You know.
Yeah, I've noticed those guys are not Embiid fans.
Well, when I responded, he was like, well, it's more or less for the 76ers fans who cry because Embiid should have got MVP. Well, if you look at how the playoffs are going to end, at the end of the day, Embiid probably should have got MVP. That's how important he is to this team.
Yeah.
Hey, all that matters is all that matters is he gets Finals MVP. That's all that really matters.
That's all. Right. That's all I care
honestly,
about.
It does. So I mean, it's like, but yeah, no, you're right though, Chris. I mean. And like those guys said, they're actually right. You know, there are Philadelphia fans that are whining that Embiid, you know, didn't win the MVP during the regular season. But then again, he missed 20 games. So you really, you know what I mean? You can't.
If I'm complaining about one thing, I'm complaining that they only got one vote, because that goes why did he get one first place vote? Exactly. I don't care that he missed 20 games. He was still a dominant force. Why did he get one vote?
That's a total disrespect.
It goes right back to like how I feel about the MLB Hall of Fame. I think it's the lamest thing in the world. I don't think, you know, writers should vote because they don't like a guy. Like you put in, and nothing against Mariano Rivera, he went in unanimously. Why did Babe Ruth not go in unanimously?
Right.
Why did Ken Griffey Jr. not go in unanimously? The three people who didn't vote for Ken Griffey Jr. Show me your work. Like they say to
They have that.
you know.
That problem's not unique to baseball, though. Theo said it in football. It's the same. It's the same thing in football. It's these guys. The problem is these writers get big heads, and they think that they know better than everybody else. And a guy like
They
Theo,
don't.
I think the number 3 ranked wide receiver of all time, stat wise, he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Chris Carter was. Are you kidding me?
Right,
Right.
Who
And they say Chris Carter got in because he kissed an unbelievable amount of ass to get a first ballot.
He went in before, Marvin Harrison went in before him.
Yep.
And listen, I'm a Roman grad, and I played against a guy in street football. Like, he's good, but Terrell Owens is number 3 in everything, like yards, catches, and touchdowns.
Yep.
And people sit there and say, well, T.O. should have went to the ceremony. He's like, why? He's like, they already don't like me, so I'm not going. So and people and
then they changed the rule. They changed the rule that people don't go to the ceremony; they're not getting in. The hubris on these people, like the balls to say something like that. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
And again, it's again, I go back to this process. I don't like Derek Jeter, but why wasn't he unanimous and his teammate was? They played on the same team. They were on the same team their entire career. His last hit was a 3,000th hit game-winning RBI, or his whatever. It was a game. His last hit was a walk-off RBI single. That's something you see in the movies. So that's why I sit there and I'm like, why aren't these guys in the Hall of Fame unanimously? Because you don't like them, that doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be. You have to be bipartial and bipartisan, and you have to show that you can look at other aspects of the field. Why is Ken Griffey Jr. the guy who leads the MLB in career home runs? Not it. We know why. It's not because of the steroid talk. It's because he didn't talk to the media, and he didn't like the media, and he let you know he didn't like the media. Pete Rose. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Gambling is legal now. It's legal. I can go on and right now and bet whether or not Pete Rose is going to be in the Hall of Fame next year. So if it's legal, I can go and bet the money line right now of the Cardinals and Mets game that's going on, the Cardinals and Mets game that was going on earlier. But why is he not in?
Gambling.
Get over it. I don't care. Don't wait till he dies, because there's lots of people who want to see him in that are old. My best friend's dad who passed away last year. It's coming up 1 year anniversary. Huge Pete Rose fan. But there's pictures of him, shit-eating grin. And he doesn't get to see his favorite player go in because MLB, is trying to be, we're better than you anyway, so you'll get in when we tell you to get in. Get out of here.
Why do they have injury reports in every single sport? Why is it important that they update the injuries?
I don't know.
For gambling. For handicapping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for handicapping. Why are people listed as probable, doubtful? It's so that people can handicap. Gambling makes sports more compelling. So it's this uneasy marriage, but let's stop pretending that it doesn't exist. It exists. It's what makes people stay up and watch the West Coast game at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night. That's what it is. That's what draws the ratings.
Right. It makes you also check your phone first thing in the morning. You go in and you check the score app, and then you go in your FanDuel app, and you're happy as hell because you just hit a 17 parlay, or you're mad because it didn't hit. And you're
correct.
Then you're going to go on, and you're going to go on. You're going to go to work at 5 a.m. You're going to do your jobs, and you're going to log on at FanDuel at 7:30, and you're going to start betting Russian table tennis and English darts. I'm just saying. That's what I heard.
Right.
Might have been done by me 1 or 4 times. I'm just saying.
And then for these leagues would never have teams in Las Vegas for how long? And now 2 of the 4 major sports teams have teams in Las Vegas. Well, they're probably going to add more.
And one of them was in the Stanley Cup Finals, their first year. Think about the money that was gambled on that. Think about the parlay that was stuck. You bet on the Vegas Knights to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. That must have been a plus $30,000 point bet. So if you bet $100, you won $30,000.
real quick, I know you guys got your on the betting thing, but 8 minutes ago, Ala Abdenabi tweeted out the league MVP getting ejected for a bad frustration foul. That's new. So
Wow.
so the MVP of the league just got thrown out of the game as they're going to be eliminated.
That's crazy.
Two of their fans also got jacked up by a Suns fan. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
I saw that. That was great. And
he
You got beat up, and then like Suns in 4. Like what?
Well, so they he had this one guy gripped up, and then his boy tried to pretend like he wasn't like, going to do anything, and then he tried to sneak the guy, and the guy just grabbed him in like a clinch, and was just
looks like Rocky Balboa.
And he actually looked at the other guy, and he was like, "I'm messing up your boy right now, like, and you're not doing anything about it." And he gave the guy like another one for good measure, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, Suns in 4."
Oh, it was. I don't care. I don't care. There was a fight in the stadium.
He was leaving. He was leaking because he was holding his nose and everything.
He looked like Nate Diaz. Does Nate Diaz never not bleed?
Did you guys get the pay-per-view last night?
I don't pay for that. I don't pay for that. But I was out at a pool party celebrating the CYO championship. But I saw pictures this morning, and I'm like, I'm clearly Nate Diaz. Is he like a wrestler? Does he cut himself and then put like petroleum jelly on him? Like, I'm just gonna bleed.
He has an unbelievable, because the way he trains. So like he trains with the best jiu-jitsu guys. He trains with the best kickboxers. So his training, he's getting cut all the time. Plus his fights are just brutal. Like, he doesn't duck and move. Like, it's like last night Joe Rogan said it looks like he got hacked with a machete on the side of his head. And it just built up a scar tissue that he gets hit. I mean, he got beat for 4 rounds where he was just leaking blood all over the place, and he kept moving forward. It was like something out of a Rocky movie.
And he came back and almost won the fight.
He stopped and slapped him, and then he hit him with a hard right, and the guy's eyes rolled, and then he rolled back to the cage. And he should have went and finished him. Instead, he pointed at him for some reason, like, "Yeah, I got you." And if the fight had gone maybe another minute, he would have won that fight. It was pretty crazy. But 2 other things happened. The prelims, there was a 7-second knockout. Guy jumps up on the cage to celebrate, comes back down, and like blows his knee out, coming back down. Insane. I've never seen anything like that. You wanted 7 seconds, you managed to just completely destroy your knee. Then there was an arm dislocation. The first fight of the main card, some Scottish guy, he got the guy to the arm bar. He rolled through it and just dislocated the guy's arm. His arm was just dangling. I mean, it was sick. And 2 really good title fights last night. So, like I said, I'm a big UFC guy. So Israel Adesanya, he's one of the top guys. I mean, he just performed. He was great. But Moreno out of Mexico won the lightweight belt last night in a hell of a fight. Rear naked choke for the finish. So really good fight. But the Nate Diaz one, that's really stole the show, man. Like I said, guy was just straight leaking blood all over the place, and it wouldn't be a fight without him doing that. It was amazing.
Right, that dude bleeds like that's crazy.
Yep.
And so obviously, we all saying double-digit victory, double-digit win points for a victory tomorrow night.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
So now let's go. We'll talk the next couple of minutes, but I do want to give a shout out to Frankie from the Flyers Nitty Gritty, who is doing he's going to be in the Talking 215 podcast, it looks like, on Facebook. So we'll probably do a collab with them soon. So that should be fun. 5 of us on there. Well, unless we do it during the week, and Eric works like 84 hours a week. So
yeah, I'm trying to cut back on that. I got some things coming up, and I may have to cut back on that second job.
Good,
so
good for you, dude. You gotta live. Listen. I say it all the time. You know, you can work 80 hours and work 40 hours overtime, but the company will replace you tomorrow if needed. So
that is true. That is true.
So you still gotta live your life. You still gotta get married. Which, congratulations! I forgot to have the red wine because I was running around like a crazy nut today. I forgot the red wine for your grandmother, so I'll make sure I'll do it on the next show. But you got getting ready to buy a house. You're getting married. Hopefully having triplets. It would be phenomenal. That would be awesome. If you had triplets, would be the best thing to come out of this whole marriage.
If they have 4 paws and bark, that's all good. Yeah, no kids on.
No
3 actual kids.
No, three babies coming out of Liz. I hope she
Yeah.
ain't watching because she may stab me in my throat if she ever met me.
She made a friend request on Facebook in 5 minutes, and then you'll get a hell of an inbox message.
Triplets. No, Eric told me to say that. Let me show you what he texted
Oh,
me.
Yeah, I'll get the text message in 10. You're getting snipped. What? No.
So,
No.
but we'll end it with talking about the Phillies, who are in second place in the NL East. They beat the Yankees today 7-0. Beat the Yankees yesterday 8-7 after Hector Neris with another blown save, which, like, all right, yesterday it was his fault. Like, he got the two batters out, and then he gave up the home run. The day before, Odubel's got to catch that ball. I don't care. Like,
right.
That dude plays center field as well as I do. Like, like he inning before he should have had a triple. They did have a triple.
Yeah.
He got a double, and Larry Anderson ripped into him about it. We all know my feelings on Odubel, but he's playing well. So it is what it is. He's going to be the leadoff guy.
That's all you want from him.
He's going to be the center fielder. So it is what it is.
I mean,
he's playing well. I can't argue his numbers. Like, we can argue his numbers. I can sit there and say, but right now he deserves to be on the team as a baseball player. As a human being, that's a whole nother story.
Different story. But no, you're right. He's playing well right now. He deserves where he's at. I mean, he deserves all the credit. But you're right. He should have caught that one ball. You're right. He should have. But then again, speaking as a baseball player, he's never been that awesome of a fielder. So I mean, he's gonna do stuff like that from time to time. But as long as he's putting up the numbers with the bat. What's Chris thinking here? He looks like he's going to say something. Your face, you look like you're about to go off on something.
When you guys get a chance, look at why Jokic got ejected. He more or less slapped the dude across the face instead of the ball.
Oh, really?
I just saw it on Twitter. Like I was just watching it on my phone. It came across. Like Tyrone Johnson tweeted out like this was well deserved. So you got to go and see. And he's like, dude, the dude Payne's still on the ground. It's been like 30 seconds. And then Devin Booker's like, I'll fight you right now, dude. Devin Booker's 5'3" and went over to Jokic and was like, I'll fight you right now.
I'm watching it.
That's
it looked
the
like
last guy on the bench has to go out there.
It looks like, it definitely looked like he came around like this, wasn't going for the ball or anything. So that's definitely a frustration foul. His elbow came down. Maybe turn that down a little there, Eric. We can hear your thing.
Man. It's off now. I was just watching it again. That's
yeah, but
the thing that frustrated me the most about the Phillies this weekend was yesterday's game, but not necessarily Hector Neris. It was getting Harper on at the bottom of the ninth and not being able to get him to score. They started out that inning with a guy on second base and no outs, and you can't get him across. And I don't understand. Like, they actually did it in the 10th inning. It's tailor-made when you're in the bottom of the 10th inning to lay that bunt down, get that run into third, and just get the run across. And I don't know why they can't do that in the 9th inning there. Rich Hodgson doesn't bunt. You know what? There's plenty of guys that were Hall of Fame hitters that played the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, that knew how to bunt in situations like that and go get a win for your team. I'm just so tired of the modern athlete with that, I'm too prideful, I won't bunt, I won't do that. Like, that's just BS, man. Go out there, lay the bunt down the line, move him over to third, get the run across, and get into the locker room. Like, it's unbelievable, like, the way some of these players act nowadays.
Too many guys want to be heroes.
Yeah, you are a hero. If you get that bunt down, you're a hero. You help contribute to that win.
But like I turn around and I told my son yesterday, I'm like, he was like he was excited and he was like, I was like, so I asked him, I said, were you disappointed that you didn't play in the field or that you didn't start? He was like, no. He's like, Coach Phil, who's a great coach, told me what my role was. He told me I was the pinch runner for the catcher and the pitcher because you can have courtesy runners.
Yep.
With less than two, one is, I think it's got to be one out, and then for the other one it's got to be two outs. So he went in, stole second, stole third, and then he got left at one time. But he came in the bottom of the sixth, He got on base for the pitcher got an infield single. He got on. He stole second, then he stole third, and then he was driven in by his buddy Sean. So it was they didn't get a chance to play small ball because they weren't able to lay the bunts down. But these kids are trying to lay bunts down. Like everybody wants to be the hero, but when you gotta win the game, lay a bunt down. I don't care if you can hit a 428-foot home run. But you know what? The guy in the next inning, DJ LeMahieu, hit a 428-foot home run to make it 7-7. I don't care if Rhys Hoskins. It's 7-7. Bryce Harper's on second, and it should have been a home run. He hit the bat. I call it the Pat Barrow wall because that's what he hit in 08. But he hit it to the dead center field. Lay the bunt down.
Yep.
Who was it? Jimmy Rollins laid the bunt down in the World Series to get the guy to third. Why can't you, Rhys Hoskins?
Yeah.
We know what Jimmy Rollins was. We knew it was a sacrifice. He wasn't trying to get on. He was moving that runner to third. There's no reason why a Rhys Hoskins or an Alec Bohm can't do the same thing in a game like that where it's 7-7. Your best player on the team, best player, not best hitter, best player is on the team, and he's now at second. And then he got left at second. He got left at third because we couldn't push him across because nobody wants to bunt anymore.
So this is an issue that I have with other things too, as far as the shift. I hate the lefty shift that guys won't just lay a bunt down the third base line there either, past the pitcher, and just get on until teams finally come out doing the shift. That's the way you beat it. And you got guys like blowhards like Mike Missadelli on 97.5 saying, "Oh, I don't want my number 4 hitter going up there and laying that bunt down." Bro, that's the only way they're going to come out of that stupid shift. So instead, you're going to have a dead pull hitter in there, stand in there, and try to hit the ball to right field when he's got 4 infielders and 2 outfielders out there. Good luck. Make them come out of the shift. Make them have to do things that they don't want to do and force that back on them and just keep getting on. I mean, Christ, if you lay down a bunt and there's nobody there to stop him, you're going to get on constantly. You're going to create havoc on the base pass. So I don't understand why teams won't do that.
Wait, so when you bring up the number 4 hitter button, is he talking about Harper?
He's talking about any guy who's, let's say,
but if you're leading off the
115 home run guy and a guy who can hit over 25 home runs, he says that's not their responsibility to go in there and bunt there. But I'm saying it's everyone's
But if you're coming up,
that if they're gonna play that shift, you hit around that shift.
Listen, if you're gonna come up in the top of the inning, lead off, there's no reason for you not to bunt. It doesn't matter if you hit a home run right there.
Right.
It's one run.
Right.
Like, and that's when it goes back to how everyone talks about how Bryce Harper's this and how Bryce Harper's that. Bryce Harper's only drove in 100 RBIs 3 times in his career.
Right.
That's not who he is. Like, so let's get over that. The guy gets on base and he scores runs. He's not Mike Trout. He's not we all know how special Mike Trout is. It's not who he is. And Mike Trout's always. I feel like Mike Trout gets hurt a lot. I mean, and he's still smashing 40 home runs playing in 120 games. But what has Mike Trout done other than win MVPs? He hasn't been in the playoffs. He hasn't won a playoff series. So like they hate sometimes like you post like when I post stuff about the Phillies and they hate that he gets sometimes because he doesn't have the. It's not him. Like if you go back and like do your homework and look at what Bryce Harper is. Like the new thing now is,
but people don't do their homework. That's the problem. They see the money, they see the dollar, and that's why he gets so much criticism.
So do you know what the new thing is now? You know what the new thing is going on in Philadelphia sports right now? Is I can't believe we traded Mikal Bridges. The dude scores 20 points every 3 weeks. He scores 20 points.
Well, they shouldn't have traded him.
But hold on. No, they traded him because San Antonio was high on Zaire Smith, and they tried to package him in the Kawhi Leonard. So that's where I have no problem with it. The problem is Elton Brand made a lot of bad moves as GM. So they go back and they look at like this move and they're like, well, Bridges wouldn't be a starter on this team. Tobias Harris wouldn't be on this team.
He would.
He wouldn't. No, he wouldn't be.
He would. And I've had people tell me this too. They said, well,
because they traded that pick.
Trade picks, because of the trade. But here's that thing. Do you understand when they made the Tobias Harris deal? You want to know how fast that deal came together? It was about a half hour. They called and said, hey, we're going to offer this to you. Will you guys be willing to part with Tobias Harris? And you know what the Clippers said? Absolutely. So anytime I'm part of a deal like that, I don't care if it's in fantasy football or if I'm going to buy a mattress or a car. I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, like I probably could have. I think I'm not getting that good of a deal here. I probably could have gotten it for a lot less because they just kind of jumped right on that. Tobias Harris had an expiring contract. LA wanted to make a run of Kawhi Leonard, and they wanted to make a run of Paul George, so they were looking to shed contract. So they probably could have gotten Tobias Harris for less than that. They could have paid. They could have, like, that pick wouldn't have mattered. Like, they could have just sent them what they got minus that pick, and they would have said, well, you know what, come back, try to match salary with this guy, maybe get. They would still got. They wanted Tobias Harris. LA was willing to part with him. I would never do a deal with San Antonio with Popovich. That team, first off, he's hard to deal with. That team, you're never going to get a straight answer about anything. So if they thought that Zaire Smith was going to be their key to get Kawhi Leonard, that's stupid because that was never going to materialize. If they said they were high on him, they probably said they were high on about 40 other players. And they had no desire to bring that guy over. They still got like 40 or 50 guys they're waiting on over in Europe. So I would never, ever do a deal with that organization or count on them to be able to make the deal. So, like I said, I think we could have had both him and we could have had Tobias Harris on this team. And that's just me. I do think LA was just looking to shed salary. They would have parted with Harris and Boban and Mike Scott for a little bit less than what we actually gave them in that deal.
Interesting.
They ran right back. Like I said, that was not a deal that took like 3 or 4 days worth of negotiation and really going back and forth. It's pretty much just like, hey, guys, this is what we're willing to offer. And they were like, deal, let's take it. And like anytime you have a deal like that, you think, damn, like I could have gotten that for way less. And they definitely could have got those guys for way less.
Well, I don't know. I still think Mikal Bridges wouldn't be a starter here. You know,
He wouldn't, but he'd be a really good piece to have.
But what about the pieces? What about the other pieces? My problem is they talk about him like he's Michael Jordan. He scores 20 points every 3 weeks. It's not like he scores 20 points every other night. It's every 3 weeks. It's like, oh, it's this, it's that. Well, there's more to it than that. Like, there was a reason why they drafted Zaire, why they traded for him. Now, the fact that the trade didn't go through, that's fine, but you got to do your homework as to why that trade happened. Yes, does Mikal Bridges do this and do that? The only reason people look at this trade and like that is because he played for Villanova and won a national championship. That dude could have played for USC and not one F would have been given if he scored 20 points for every 3 weeks. But the fact that his mom was happy and it was on TV and it was this and that and he was a local guy, that's why Philadelphia fans are so stupid in their era of looking, oh my God, this was the worst trade in the history of NBA. I can't believe we got fleeced on it. We are in the second round as a number 1 seed, and we're finding another reason to complain. Something that is happening on the West Coast, we are finding a reason to complain. We can never be happy with what we got. I don't care if Mikal Bridges scores 65 points in the next 4 games. I don't want him on the team. I don't care.
Here's the thing, though, and I can share my video from draft night. I hate it, and I actually did it the other day. Some guy was like, "Oh, you weren't high on Michael Bridges when that trade happened," and I actually shared the draft night video where I was distraught that we traded the pick away. I loved the kid coming out of college.
Oh, listen, I loved him too. I was like, why dude was a Sixer for like 35 seconds. Like, I feel like he got drafted and then got traded.
But here's the thing.
He went to put on a hat and they're like, nah, bro, wrong hat. He's like, but it says 76ers.
But here's the thing, though. So they say, like, you could say, well, there'd be no room for him, or he's only doing this, or he's only doing that, and he'd be coming off the bench. This year, when we tried to make moves, teams wanted to come after Maxey, and teams wanted to come after Matisse Thybulle. We didn't want to give them up. They were our young guys that we liked, that we wanted to keep in this organization because they are going to help contribute. They are helping to contribute now, and they're going to continue to help contribute the next 3 runs we make. So
I would have got rid of Maxey in a heartbeat, and I love the kid. I would have traded him.
Well,
depending what the player was.
But think about if you had Michael Bridges to add in there too. Now you have 3 guys. One of them then becomes expendable. two guys you do need, and we've needed these guys so far, and we're going to probably need them going forward here. So it's good we held on to them. But if you have that third guy there, someone becomes expendable, and then you can move that, and you can bring a veteran in here. So we did lose an opportunity to maybe snag an extra veteran and bring him in. They bought George Hill, and George Hill stinks at this point. But we could have gotten probably somebody better if we had that extra piece, because somebody would have taken him this year if we still had his rights. And we did, because we had Zaire Smith. He's not even in the league anymore.
But but you're saying if we had, everything is a lot of what ifs. Who knows what? We don't know if Bridges would have been good for the Sixers. We don't know. We look at Brett Brown.
Succeeded anywhere.
I disagree
he was very NBA ready. I think him being out in Phoenix and not really having a veteran point guard there and a lot of veteran leadership, I think kind of stalled his progression. I think he plays here with a little bit more vet experience playing in his hometown. I think his progression would have actually been a little bit faster. I think what you're getting right now, you would have gotten last year with him.
No, I mean, I'll disagree. I disagree, but that's whatever. That's me. That's my thing. He averaged 8. He averaged 8 points his first year. He averaged 9 points his second year. He's averaging 13 points. You act like people are acting like this guy's averaging 23 points a game. Number one seed. Appreciate it. Appreciate his number one seed.
He's a 3-and-D guy, and 3-and-D guy it's important in today's game. He's got a long wingspan. He can mark a couple different positions, and he still scores. And he's a good shooter. So, like I said, you can't undersell him for what he is. He's a very good player.
You can't. But who would you rather have? Would you rather have Tybal or him?
To be honest, I'd actually. We talk about offensively or defensively, because offensively, Bridges is a better player. Defensively, Tybal's a better player.
Well, then but here's the thing: we already have the offense, so we don't need. I want the guy who can come out and who can block the Trae Youngs, who can defend the Kyrie Irvings, the guy who, Tybal doesn't stop. Matisse Thybulle doesn't stop. I feel like his battery's never running. He's running around the thing. He's still running. Trying. They're playing half court. In the way that the NBA today, you need that. I feel like you need that to cope with the scoring that's going to happen. You're going to have to slow somebody down. But I don't think if you had Bridges out there, who's Bridges stopping? Bridges ain't stopping Kyrie Irving. He ain't stopping Giannis, and he ain't stopping Durant. Now
Bridges guarded LeBron last series, and he did very well.
But that's fine. But do you think so? You're going to put him on one of those three, and are you comfortable? I get what you're saying, but LeBron's 38 years old. LeBron's not the LeBron of 20 years ago. So let's put that out there.
I do like Bridges' chances. I think Bridges has had a very playoff run. I think he's had a very good season playing what he's done, doing what he's done offensively and doing what he's done defensively. That team was the number 2 seed, and he was the defensive anchor in a lot of those games because he is slowing down the other team's best perimeter player offensively. And he's getting runs at Booker every day in practice. So he's getting very sharp. This was a guy who was a decent defender at Villanova. He was more known for his offense. His defensive game has come along great. I mean, he's like a top-notch defender now. So I do like the progression. And like I said, it wouldn't have hurt us to have one more asset on that team that we could have moved. Like I said, he may have been expendable at that point, but we lost an asset there because we got Zaire Smith. He's not even in the league anymore. So we didn't have the ability to have that young guy that's expendable at that point to move to try to upgrade. So that hurt us. Like I said, the Zaire Smith trade hurt us because that guy contributed absolutely nothing and therefore could not be an asset for us to move.
No, I disagree, but we're not going to get into this. We went completely off talk about the Phillies, but that's fine. I just get annoyed that people are still talking about this Bridges trade, but I'm like, we're the number 1 seed.
There's a time and a place for it, and when it comes up, I'll talk about it. But I'm totally fine with the way this team's constructed at this point. We could have used the extra asset, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's going to take things breaking your way. And right now, things are breaking our way. Things are breaking away. It seems like for Phoenix too. Phoenix is hot. They're the hot team. if you look, there's two teams where things are kind of breaking down for them. That's going to be a showdown. It's between us and them. So I'm very excited about it. Like I said, I've been a fan of a lot of teams that have gone on and won titles, and you sit there and you watch, how things kind of just break down the way you would hope they would, and you really need them to. And I'm starting to see this all happen for the Sixers, so people should be very excited about that. Like I said, it doesn't harm you to look forward into that either. Just enjoy the ride,
No,
I hear you.
Like
I agree.
That's all I want. I just want you to, like, yeah. I sit there and I talk all this shit. The Sixers can get to the finals, and the Suns will get to the finals. Mikal Bridges will drop 45 points in Game 1. They'll be like, "We knew we should have kept him." I can't wait. I can't wait. I've never looked forward to something, and Denver's only losing by 6 now, with 6 minutes left.
Suns are still going to win that game. I'll tell you what, if the Sixers end up playing the Suns in the finals, I'm calling it right now. That's going to be a Game 7. That's going to be a Game 7 series, and it's going to be a down to the wire type, like a couple years ago with the Cavs and the Warriors, where the Cavs pulled it out on a late Irving 3-pointer. It's going to be a series like that. It's going to that team matches up very well with us. And I just think it's just going to be a slugfest. So I can see them taking a game here, us taking a game out there. Like I said, rolling into a Game 7 with an even bet line there. That is going to be a hell of a series if we get them in the finals.
Oh, I hope so. I hope we get to the finals. It'll be a fun run for us.
I'm telling you, things are breaking our way, man. Like I said, you just got to get on the train. You got to enjoy it. Because, we might come in next year as a 1 seed. We might come in the following year as a 1 seed. Somebody might get hurt. We may get, something bad may happen in one of the series, cost us a game, something like that. You never know. So you got to enjoy these ones.
It was brought up earlier in the season. Well, not earlier, like a couple weeks ago when, Steve Nash sat. I think it was Durant against the Sixers, and that cost them the number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they were just going to go in and sweep them. It looks like they were going in and sweeping the Bucks.
Yep.
Now it's going to be like, oh crap! Like if we go down 3-2, we got to go to Milwaukee for a Game 6, and then God forbid you win that. Now you have to get back on a plane to Brooklyn for a Game 7. Yep. Embiid's resting his knee because he's like this. And he's got his knee all laced up. He's smoking a cigar, and and they're killing each other. And I don't care what anyone says. That Game 3, I got into a huge debate about the defense that was played in that game. There was no defense. Their shot selection blew, and they were like, "Well, that's good defense." No, it wasn't like they were like this. They were just like this, and they were just making bad shots.
Yep.
Like it wasn't. They didn't shoot. They weren't. It did shot ugly. It was disgusting. Like it was like these are NBA and the 86-83. The Brooklyn Nets scored 83 points.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be scared as a Sixers fan, knowing how good the defense that Ben Simmons plays and how good the defense Matisse Thybulle plays. I'm supposed to be scared of that?
Yeah.
I laugh in the ha ha ha, as they say. I laugh at that. Like I don't care. Like James Harden looks like he's gonna quit again. Kyrie Irving's getting hurt. And I'm supposed to be scared of Blake Griffin? I'm more scared of Kevin Durant dropping 65 points than I am of Blake Griffin and James Harden.
Not PJ Tucker's on him. Oh, how about that? Did anybody see that?
That dude looks like he's from Bebe's Kids. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie and that comedian, but that's who he looks
Kids.
like. He looks like he's a short, fat, stocky kid playing in Harlem, and they're like, "Yo, we need you for Game 3. Come suit up."
Well, so I don't want to rip Kevin Durant because again, I'm a big Philadelphia Union fan. If you see the sticker in the back there, huge Union fan, and he is one of the owners of the team. So I don't want to rip Durant, but guy goes on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. He talks a lot of shit about being tough, being Brooklyn tough, being this, being that. He gets on Michael Rappaport, who he is what he is. But the minute a guy gets face to face with him on the court, his private security guard, who is employed by the Nets, mind you, runs out there and pushes the player out of the way. Has anybody ever seen that before in sports where somebody's private security guard comes on there and protects him from getting beat up?
No.
Especially the guy who goes on social media and talks about how tough he is. And he's offering actors and comedians out. And you can't handle your own battles on there. I'm surprised his mom didn't run on there and smack the guy. You know, that's the only thing that would have been worse than that.
All right, so
Yeah, I've never heard of that or seen that.
All right, so the Phillies, they had their 4-game sweep. So I want everyone, whoever's listening, if there's anyone left listening, go on the Phillies Twitter and look at what the Sixers are wearing. Archie Bradley is wearing a black Iverson jersey. He's wearing the black NBA pants. He's wearing the black arm sleeve that Iverson wore.
Oh, yeah, they all had stuff. Yeah.
He's wearing the black leg sleeve. He's all AI'd out. And they're all they're going to Philadelphia. They're going to LA all Sixered out. And that's
but somebody was wearing a Brooklyn jersey. Who's wearing the Brooklyn jersey?
No, it's not a Brooklyn jersey. It was a Negro League hat.
No, somebody was wearing Brooklyn stuff. There were two guys. There was one guy was wearing a.
Reese Hoskins is wearing a Kings jersey.
I'm sorry. There's 3 guys. Somebody was wearing a Kings jersey. Somebody was wearing the Flint jersey from the Will Ferrell movie. I forget what the hell is that called.
Yeah.
What's that movie called? Semi-Pro.
Yeah,
he was wearing that jersey.
Semi-pro.
And then somebody was wearing a Brooklyn jersey. I'm like, are you like tone deaf? You're in Philadelphia. You're gonna wear that? Like, even if you're not a Sixers fan, like you can't be wearing Brooklyn stuff. Like, are you serious? like Reese Hoskins wearing the Kings jersey. Okay, that's fine. The Kings aren't in the playoffs, but like, come on, bro. Like Brooklyn, like just a way to make fans hate you. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, Flint Tropics is the team. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Flint Tropics.
Yeah.
But
that's a great movie.
That's a good way. Listen, that's Archie Bradley. That's a good way to get the fans on your side when you come back. I'm just saying, like that's Philadelphia fans love the support of each other. So
he was in like full uniform. That was the best part of it. Like he looked like he was ready to run out into the court. Yeah.
I'm looking at the picture right now, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
My phone's about to die, so you're going to have to retweet it out, Eric, from CEV Sports. But it's phenomenal.
Okay.
So, but, I don't know. Anything else? Anybody want to add?
Nah, man, I'm good. I had fun listening to you guys debate.
More or less, are you? And I think he's just like, I guess he's done. I mean, hey, if he's still watching, come back in. I don't know if he's going to come back in. I'll text him because unless his phone died. But no, listen. I'm hoping for a Sixers win tomorrow night.
It's going to happen. There's no way. I don't think there's any way they lose that game. I'll go check the odds tomorrow.
Yeah,
but I don't think there's any way they lose.
I think it's got to be 14 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. They're only a 3.5 point favorite. Which because
who the Sixers?
They're a 3.5 point favorite.
Yeah.
But you go back with the home team, it's a 6.5 point favorite. So it's
the Hawks game 3. The Hawks were 1.5 or were 1.5 point dog in game 3. So the Sixers, they're expecting the Sixers to win by more than what they were predicting in game 3, and we ran them off the court in game 3. So I think that's a win, man. I think Vegas is telling us it's a win.
So
there
he's back.
I don't know what happened there. You said something. Next thing I know, it just went off. I'm like, what happened?
But we were just talking about the Sixers being a 3.5 point favorite. 3.5 point favorite, which more or less in the end, it's 6.5 because it's the home, the home court for Atlanta. So, but we'll see. I don't even know what the money line is, to be honest with you, because I haven't bet in a while. But
I couldn't tell you. I don't bet.
Yeah, the money line is only plus 135 for Hawks, so it's not a lot. So you bet
right.
You bet 10, you win $13.50. So it's not worth putting the money out for to bet on the Hawks.
Right. No, not at all.
But listen, I hope they run him off the court. I hope Trae Young and his stupid hair get angry again. And we're back here talking next week on, the possibility of a game 1 Eastern Conference Finals starting either Sunday night or Monday.
Sounds good to me, man. I'm feeling confident, but I'm feeling real confident.
So check us out on Twitter at CEV Sports. Our website is cvsports.com. We'll be putting more content up. We'll probably be doing more podcasts with Talking 215. Hopefully, we can get a couple more out. Actually, I don't know if I'll be here next week. I am leaving for Kentucky, so depending what time I get into Kentucky and what we're doing, if I'm at because we went at an Airbnb, so if I'm out there and we're not doing anything that Sunday night and we're home, I may come up. We can probably do a show, or I'll set it up for you, and you guys can do it, so we don't lose anything. So we still keep.
Sounds
this going.
good.
Should probably do
Sounds
one
good.
live from Churchill Downs.
Yeah. So if anything, I'll talk to Frankie and see if he'll come on, and he'll be my replacement for the week.
He'll be your stand-in. Okay.
Be my stand-in. He stood in for Tendies on Patterson last week. It was a good episode.
I saw.
So,
I watched it. I did get to watch that. That was really fun. That was a fun episode to watch.
Frankie's always a good guy to have on the show. He's a good talker.
Yes,
Read
he
his
is.
article. Read his article about the Flyers and his dad and his cancer. That's it.
That was pretty cool. I did. I took a look at that. That was pretty cool.
I'm not getting into it anymore. I'm not getting myself upset. Listen, I don't read. So when I read and I reshare it and I tell you to read, friggin' read it. Like that's all I gotta say. Like I don't read.
Check it out.
I don't even read obituaries. I don't like reading with my kids when they have to do homework. So what am I gonna read for in general? It's thank God school's over in 3 days. All my kids got half days. I don't know why.
That's good. That's good.
What about your kids? They done, Pat?
Friday. Brutal.
And they're going to school for a half day every day, right?
Yeah, they get done at 11:30.
Go to school on Monday, make it a full day, and end it.
It's got to be 180 days and this and that. Like, just stop.
Well, wait a minute. Wait.
It wasn't 180 days last year, so who cares?
So, but wait a minute. Here's where I'm kind of confused here. I mean, you guys are the ones with the kids who are in school and everything. We just went through all this crap with this pandemic, where they're forcing these kids. They're trying to force the kids to get back into school, just to be in school. And it seems like they've only been in school for like 4 weeks, and now they're getting half days and done for the year. What was the point of them going back into the classroom?
Well, so Chris and I's children have been back in school since September.
So, my kids were virtual. My kids were virtual until
I remember
January.
yours were. I remember yours were, Chris.
They still went. Then, they went back. The school got shut down because of COVID, or the class got shut down. So they went back. Then the school got shut down. You're like, what the?
See, I just don't understand. I just don't understand the point of, like, it was so important to get them back in there, and then just for the year, just do what you were doing, and then next year, get him into the classrooms.
So
that's
so
what I mean.
The explanation I got was that and my kids go to St. Martha's. My wife teaches there. We went back apparently after Labor Day was the explanation. So they have to do 180 days. But, like, I know, like, people that their kids go to Mast, for example. Mast had, like, every Friday was, like, what they called an asynchronous learning day, which means the kids were given work to do, and nobody logged on. Nobody actually did any type of classroom work. They were just doing work that they were given for that given day. Like, they weren't logging online. They weren't having, like, a classroom type of day.
So nobody was
virtual.
checking them, basically.
Correct. So it was basically like what my kids were doing on snow days. They said, here, do this page, do that page. The kids could be done the homework in an hour. It could take them 6 hours. It depends. Like, but the main line is that, like, the teachers weren't in the classroom, kids weren't in the classroom, they weren't virtual learning, they were just doing their work by themselves. Same thing with my buddy whose kid was in public school. Apparently they had half days every Wednesday. They had asynchronous learning days too. And, like, my whole thing is, like, my kids have been back in school in classroom. Like, we probably, like, we didn't have asynchronous learning days aside from, like, the few snow days we had. So we spent a lot of time in class, probably as much time as any of these schools. So why are they getting out before us? And that was my contention, but I don't know. I guess it bothered a lot of parents. The fact that I brought it up. So
my wife teaches at a charter school, and the kids had off every Monday, like the kindergarten kids and the first graders had off every Monday.
Yeah.
And then she had meetings to go through that she was doing at home on Zoom.
Right. And they counted them those as school days because they didn't take it away from them. And my whole thing was too, like, we didn't use any snow days. Like before, like if we used like 3 or 4 snow days, they were just kind of like, oh, okay, fine, you didn't have any snow days. Well, now they're saying they don't bank snow days because snow days don't exist anymore. We used snow days all the time when I was a kid. I never went past school like June 15th. That was like the latest day. Never went past to the 18th. My kids are going to the 18th. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
I just watched Dazed and Confused, and they're like, last day of school, May 29th. I'm like, what?
Yeah, well, a lot of schools down south, they go back like at the beginning of August, and then they're done at the beginning of May. So it's different, yeah.
These kids don't get any time off.
I don't think Dazed and Confused was in whatever city, whatever it was, but
I think it was,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Eric, do our sign off. You do it on the podcast, so you might as well do it here.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on the Philly podcast virtual edition on StreamYard.com. I'm Eric Perugini. He's Chris Lahiff. He's Pat Houseman. Guys, enjoy the rest of your night. And everyone, thank you for watching, and give us a follow on Twitter at CEV Sports. But you can check out our stuff at CEVSports.com. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.